All right, let's talk about something that's changing the game for so many people. We're diving into the work of biochemist Jessie and Chaspe, who you might know as the glucose goddess. She started this huge global movement, and it's all based on these really simple, science-backed food hacks. The best part? They can seriously improve your health without any crazy dieting. So yeah, let's get right into it.
So Jessie's big point is this. A lot of us, maybe even most of us, are stuck in a sugar crisis, and we don't even realize it. But here's the thing. This isn't about blaming yourself or needing more willpower. Nope. It's really about understanding what's happening inside our own bodies and how just a couple of small tweaks can make a huge difference in how you feel like every single day.
Okay, so before we can get to the solutions, we gotta understand the problem, right? And it's this hidden thing that's affecting millions and millions of us. And believe it or not, it all boils down to one tiny molecule.
And that molecule? It's glucose. Now, glucose is super important. It's basically our body's main source of fuel. You eat pasta, bread, even an apple. It all breaks down into glucose to give you energy. So the problem isn't glucose itself. We absolutely need it. The real issue is that most of us are flooding our systems with way too much of it, way too quickly.
And what happens when you get that massive, fast rush of glucose? Well, it creates what Jessie perfectly calls the glucose roller coaster. Let's actually visualize what that really means for your body.
Okay, look at this. On the left, that's the goal. See those gentle, rolling waves? That's stable energy. But look at the right. Those sharp, spiky mountains? That's what a lot of us are actually going through. Those are glucose spikes, and what goes up must come down, right? So they're always followed by these really steep crashes. And the crazy part is, most of us are on this wild ride every single day without even knowing it.
And here's why that roller coaster matters so much. Those spikes and crashes, they're the culprit behind so many things we just assume are normal. You know that 3 p.m. craving for something sweet that you just can't shake? That's a crash. Feeling starving again an hour after a big meal? Yep, another crash. These spikes also fire up chronic inflammation in the body, which is a root cause for all sorts of things, from just feeling tired all the time to even major skin issues.
Let me tell you, this isn't just theory. Let's make this really personal. This is Ashley. For 13 years, she struggled with severe, painful cystic acne. I mean, it got so bad, it totally crushed her confidence. She tried everything, and nothing worked. What she had no idea about was that her skin was basically screaming for help. It was a mirror reflecting all of those inflammatory glucose spikes that were happening inside her.
So, the big question is, how do you get off this crazy roller coaster? Well, let's jump into the first hack from the glucose goddess. It's super simple, incredibly powerful, and it's an idea she calls clothing your carbs.
Okay, so what does she mean by that? Well, think about when you eat carbs all by themselves. You know, a piece of toast with nothing on it, a bowl of cereal, maybe just a handful of crackers or cookies. Jessie calls these naked carbs, and when they're naked, they hit your system super fast, causing one of those giant glucose spikes we just talked about.
The solution? It's so simple. You just put some clothes on them. All this means is adding some protein, fiber, or healthy fat alongside your carbs. So instead of just a bowl of plain pasta, you add some chicken. That's your protein. Toss in some spinach for fiber, a little olive oil for fat. See? You've clothed the pasta. And this clothing works like magic. It slows everything down so the glucose enters your bloodstream much more gently. It flattens that curve.
All right, hack number 2. This one is really fascinating. It shows that sometimes you don't even have to change a single thing about what you eat. You just have to change the order you eat it in. Yeah, seriously.
And to see why this matters, let's meet Omar. For him, the glucose roller coaster wasn't just cravings. It was extreme. It led to a type 2 diabetes diagnosis, really bad sleep apnea, and these cravings that just felt completely out of his control. He really felt trapped by food, and he was terrified about not being there for his family in the long run.
Now, for someone like Omar, this next hack is an absolute game changer. Get this, research has shown that by only changing the order you eat your food, you can cut the glucose spike of the exact same meal by up to 75%. I mean, think about that. That is a massive number, and you didn't change a single ingredient on your plate. So what's the magic order? It's this simple. Veggies first. The fiber in the vegetables creates this kind of protective net, like a mesh at the bottom of your stomach. Then you eat your proteins and fats, and you save your starches and sugars for last.
That mesh you created at the beginning slows down how fast the sugars and starches get absorbed later. It's the same meal, but it has a completely different, much gentler impact on your body.
Okay, so this all sounds great in theory, but does it actually work for real people? In the real world. Let's check back in with Ashley and Omar and see what happened after they tried these hacks for just 6 weeks.
For Ashley, the results were just wow. After 13 years of pain and frustration, her cystic acne completely vanished. Not a single new breakout. But it was more than just her skin. She fell in love with cooking, her confidence came soaring back, and she felt so good that she finally told her partner she was ready to get engaged. Just incredible.
And Omar? His transformation was just as profound. His doctor gave him the news. He had actually moved from being diabetic into the pre-diabetic range. I mean, that's life-changing. His energy shot through the roof, that constant gnawing hunger was just gone. And for the first time in years, he could actually sleep through the entire night.
So what's the big takeaway here? It's so powerful because it's not about restriction or deprivation. It's just about being smarter with two things: sequence and combination. You can flatten those glucose curves just by adding some cloves to your carbs and making sure you eat your veggies first. That's it.
And that really just leaves us with one final question for you. Think about your own day, your own meals. What's one naked carb you usually eat? Maybe it's that toast in the morning or a rice cake in the afternoon. What's one simple thing you could add to put some clothes on it this week? Because that simple choice might just be your first step off the roller coaster for good.